My name is Vicky Sharpe. I'm President and CEO of Sustainable Development Technology Canada. And I've just completed a panel that was essentially where is the money and opportunity for companies looking to build and get out to the market. So. There are actually quite a lot of takeaways. I mean, the thing is, it is an ecosystem, so we need to all work together, good handshakes, people taking early risk. Often that's the government. SDTC is in that business. We exist because the federal government puts financing funds into us. But we couldn't work and we couldn't see the successes in the marketplace if we didn't have colleagues in the private sector who will pick up these companies and invest in them and build them and get them into market. So that's one of the messages. The other one is that there's been a lot of concern around clean tech because it has a label. Lots of people got into it because it was a fashion. The fashion followers have got out of the business recently, so there's is this the end, et cetera, and of course it's not. So the people that really know how to make money are hanging in. But it is a different investment category, longer holds, different kinds of multipliers, different customers, different markets. But there is good hope, and we're seeing a number of certainly SETC's portfolio companies going global and being successful. So. Thank you for that question, because you're right. I don't think the industry has done a good job of explaining itself to the broader public. So first of all, clean energy and clean tech ranges all the way across from green IT through to how do you improve the impact or reduce the impact of oil sands. So clean tech, first of all, is about how you incorporate efficient technologies. They might use a waste stream. They might create new revenue streams. It might be in agriculture, forestry, building construction, transportation, power generation, and energy exploration and production, water and waste management. It's that broad. So it's a very difficult thing to control, but people always think about, oh, it's solar or it's wind, and that is just such a tiny piece of the conversation. So it is a good way to get into that. It's very broad, and it's also not a sector that exists on its own. So in the process of all the sectors I've just talked about adopting clean technologies, what you're doing is making traditional industries that drive our Canadian economy more efficient, more productive. That's greater prosperity, and it's reduced environmental impact. I mean, it's just a very powerful story. But that's where the jobs are. That's where we're creating jobs and opportunities in communities across the country, but inside traditional industries, typically. In meeting the challenge of climate change, I think that we can meet it. The issue is whether we can get there fast enough for the rate of change that we're seeing. And you can worry about that as an environmentalist, or you can think about it in terms of how is the human race going to be existing on this earth with the growth in population. And I think we're clearly saying not the same way that we've done it in the past. So when you ask me about energy systems, what would it look like in the future, it won't look entirely the same. There will be probably distributed forms of both energy creation and energy usage. People will obviously interface a lot more through all these different media technologies rather than looking at necessarily getting in cars and going to see people. I think we just haven't even fully imagined how different it will be. But another driver for that change is that many of the so-called developed countries, the investments they've made in traditional and classic energy production and distribution and power usage is starting to need renewal and higher maintenance. So if you're going to put money in, are you going to redo and fix up the old stuff, or are you going to replace it with something new? And I think that that's something we will see for sure. Where I see the greatest advances being made are in a number of sectors. If you think about what is it that we need, so that things around food shortage, and therefore technologies that are going to increase yields, reduce the use of pesticides, those are going to be very important. What else does the human species need? And that's water. So we have not yet fully absorbed the way that we waste water for those of us that even have access to it, and whether it is even easy to drink. So technologies around water are really important. And then as we talked about on our energy side, the way that we find energy, whether it's shale gas, oil, traditional oil sands, shale, we have to think about how we're extracting that it'll be efficient, how we're going to move it around, that it'll be safe to the standards that public want. And all of those are big areas of opportunity. But one of my favorites is actually around what we call the bioeconomy or sector, in that can we replace petrochemicals to some degree with bio-based chemicals? Can we convert things with biological processes that use less energy, lower temperatures, less energy intensity, so that you're going to have different ways of doing things? And advanced materials is another area, and those can be biomaterials as well. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can look at the bio side and learn from it, but we haven't figured that all out yet. Well, you're asking me for an organization that's designed to take risk. So we have in our portfolio already companies and technologies that are providing solutions exactly in the areas that I've just talked about. So we don't see it as unnecessarily risky. In fact, we are looking for disruptive technologies because we'd like to see some step function changes. Are those companies getting financing? Yes, just in the session we were in, we've had a couple of good IPOs and a couple of companies that are in the food business. So that's for sure working. Close relationships with the oil sands companies on how they can look at water usage reduction, because that's a big part of their cost, but also of their environmental impact. So, yep, it's good, and we obviously don't think it's a too big a risk. Some of the customers are slow to pick it up, maybe, but it'll happen for sure. The value of Globe for SDTC is it's good for the business and it's good for the soul. So we come here to be efficient, to meet people, to network. It's explicitly to try and build opportunities for our companies in our portfolio. And there's so many people here that are relevant to that business that it works really well for us. So we love to be here.